Hi, welcome back to the power of model drawing. Now today we are going to continue with our model drawing for P3 and P4. So let's look at practice problem 1 and alright, let's see how do we draw out this problem. Now Mrs. Chu bought a peach, 2 pears and 6 apples for $8.70. The cost of 1 pear and 3 apples was $2.60. So what was the cost of the peach? Alright, so in this question, you can see that there's no more than, there's no 3 times, and so on. But how do we solve this problem? Is there any other method, or is there any method that we can use? One of the methods is using elimination method, right? There's a method called elimination. Another method is, of course, is model drawing. So you actually have a few methods to solve this problem. But we are going to focus on model drawing today, so let's see how we draw. First of all, you have a rectangle. So when you draw a model, you always start with 2 types of model. It's either the parts-whole model or the comparison model. So you have to think about which model you want to start with. So for this problem, it is not really there's no comparing here, right? There's no comparing. So I will draw a parts-whole model, and I will cut one box for the peach. So what I can do is I will put the P inside. Alright, now then I remember I told you all some months ago that you always put the labels outside. Put the labels outside the rectangle, and then numbers are inside. Alright, numbers are inside the boxes. But for this problem, well, it will be better, right, if you actually put the letters inside. So it all depends on what you want to do, right? So some of you may want to put the letters inside, some want to put the letters outside, but usually when we draw the model, we always put the labels outside and the numbers we put inside. But in this question, it's a little bit special. You will see why is it so later. Okay, so Mrs. Chu bought a peach and then 2 pears. So I will need to do something like that, but you can see the letters are the same. So it's very confusing, right, if you have the same letter. So maybe I will just put something like this, peach, right, PH, right, PH for peach, and then P for pears. And then there are 6 apples. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So our label apples in the boxes, and then the total money for all of these fruits will be $8.70. Okay, now 1 pear and 3 apples was $2.60. So can you find the cost of 1 peach? So why do I want to put the letters in the boxes? So that I can do something like this, right? I can circle the letters. So 1 peach, okay, 1 peach and 3 pears. Alright, so you circle 1 peach and 3 pears. How much would that be? That will be okay, so let's do something like that. That will be $8.70, right? Okay, for this 1 peach and 3 apples. Alright, and then 1 pear and 3 apples. 1 pear and 3 apples was $2.60. Okay, let me just undo. There's a writing error. So 1 pear and 3 apples was $2.60. Alright, then you can circle again, right? You circle another pear and 3 more apples. So that will be another $2.60, right? Okay, so now can you find how much is 1 peach? So how do you find 1 peach? So you just have to add these 2 together. So you have $2.60 and you times 2 and you will get $5.20. Alright, and now can I find how much is 1 peach? So you take the total cost, which is $8.70 minus $5.20. So 1 peach will be $3.50. And that's how you solve. And this is the reason why I put the letters into the boxes so that I can circle. Or I can circle the groups. Groups. So in other words, you are using something like grouping. So you have one group that has 1 pear and 3 apples. Then you circle another group that has 1 pear and 3 apples. And then you can find the peach, which is $3.50. Alright, so that is a very simple model drawing. So let's go to another problem. So now you have fractions. And fractions, usually most students, they don't draw the model because it's still quite easy to work out the answer. But you need to start the model drawing, right? Even though it looks easy, because when you go to primary 5, you will still have fractions, but it will be harder to solve already because you will get more complex. So to be able to solve the problem, right, using model, you need to start drawing the model at primary 4 level. And even though you know how to solve it without the model, it is still good important that you always try to draw out the fractions. Then when you go to primary 5, it's easier. So for example, Amy read 1/4 of the book on Monday. She read 2/3 of the book on Tuesday and the rest of the book on Wednesday. Now, one of the most common mistake that students make when they are in primary 5 is they see fractions, they just plus them and they minus them. Right? They take 1/4 plus 2/3 or 2/3 minus 1/4 without thinking whether it can be done or not. At primary 4 level, right, there's no remainder thoughts yet. You don't see the word remainder at primary 4 level. That's why it's easy, right? Every time you see fractions, you just add them because they both refer to the same thing. But when you go to primary 5, when you start to have the remainder or something different, then what happens? Then you cannot add the fractions like that. You cannot minus the fractions. You cannot make the denominator the same anymore because the fractions refer to different things. So at this primary 4 level, you have to start thinking about what the fractions are referring to, so that when you go to primary 5, you don't get confused. You don't start adding and subtracting fractions just because you have done it in primary 4. In primary 5, it's going to be different. So for example, this fraction refers to the book, right? It's talking about the book, and the 2/3 is talking about the same book. So that's why we can plus them together. That's what you do, right? You take 1/4 plus 2/3 because the two fractions are talking about the same thing. Alright, but because we want to draw a model and the two fractions are talking about the same book, so we make the denominator the same so that we can draw the box. We can draw a rectangle and cut into 12 boxes. So 4 times 3 and 1 times 3. So you have 3/12, 3 times 4, and 2 times 4, 8/12. Alright, so how do we draw the model using the two fractions? Very easy. A rectangle for the whole book, cut into 12 boxes. So you have 6 or 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And 3 boxes was read on Monday. And then another 8 boxes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, let me see. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 until here was read on Tuesday. And the rest were read on Wednesday, right? So you should start to use the model, you should start to draw out the model using the fractions. All right, start learning how to use the fractions to draw the model, so that when you go to P5, it'll be easier. All right, much easier. All right, then what happened? Now you have drawn until here already. She read 17 pages of the book on Wednesday, which means that your 1 unit is 17, right? 1 unit. Okay, so what fraction of the book did she read on Wednesday? Now, if you draw the model, you can see that you have actually lesser steps. Like for part A, you actually don't have a lot of steps. So what fraction of the whole book, which is how many units, which is altogether 12 units, did she read on Wednesday? That is 1/12. And that's your part A already by looking at the model. So let's put 1 unit inside every box. And now let's look at part B. How many pages were there in the book? Alright, so how many pages were there in the book? So if 1 unit is equal to 17, that's what you see in the model, then how many units are there altogether? There are 12 units, so that will be 12 times 17. So what is 12 times 17? And you will get 12 times 17, you will have 204 pages in the book. So just a few steps only if you draw the model. Alright, but the purpose of drawing the model at P4 level when you see fractions is to help you to draw more complicated problems at P5 when there are also fractions. Alright, you will still have fractions at P5 level, and of course the problem will get more complicated, especially with the word remainder. So you need to start knowing how to draw this simple model first before you can draw the model with the remainder. Alright, let's go to another example. Alright, now you can see that we are looking at a different question, no fractions, just whole numbers. So let's read. Jim, Ravi, and Sean had a total of $3,285. Ravi had twice as much as Jim. So there is a comparison model, or there's a comparison here. So we draw the comparison model. And Sean had twice as much as Ravi. So Sean has 3 and Ravi has 1 time. So how much did Jim have? and what was the total money that Sean must give to both Ravi and Jim so that all of them will have the same amount of money. So your part B looks a bit complicated. But when you draw the model, complicated problems become easier to handle because you can just zoom in on the model and play with the model to write the steps. Okay, so let's draw out the sentence. If the first sentence you are not sure how to draw, then you always go to the next step. Go to the next sentence. Ravi had 2 boxes, and Jim has 1 box. So let's label the letter Jim or J. So Ravi has 2 boxes, and Jim has 1 box. And Sean had 3 times as much as Ravi. So it means that Sean has 3 times as much as Ravi. That's 1 time. Alright, same as Ravi's rectangle, which is one time, then 2 times, and then 3 times. Alright, so Sean had 3 times as much as Ravi. And you need to cut it to make the model all equal. Alright, which is very important. Okay, and then after that, you need to do what? You need to call them units. So every box is now called 1 unit. And then the first sentence that you couldn't draw, you have to go back and add on to the model, which is $3,285. Okay, so how much did Jim have? So your question mark is here. Okay, alright, so can we solve already? Yes, of course we can already, because you count the total units. Ravi has 2 units, Jim has 1 unit, and Sean has 6 units. So together they have 9 units, which is $3,285. And then you can find 1 unit. You take 3,285 and then you divide by 9. And what do you get? So you do your working. And 3,285 divided by 9, you will get $365, which is 1 unit. So Jim has how much money? Jim has $365. Okay, let's look at part B. So what was the total money that Sean must give to Ravi and Jim so that all of them have the same number? So that is like a before and after question, right? So can we draw a before and after model? So how do we draw a before and after model? Okay, now, if you look carefully, what is unchanged? If Sean gives to Ravi and Jim, what is still unchanged? The total money is still unchanged, right? The total money. Alright, so they have all together 9 units. 9 units if you look at the boxes. Now, if this is a before model, then how are we going to draw the after model? So lesson here. If you think that the problem is a before and after, then you can draw before and after model. So the after model will be like this. So every one of them is going to have the same amount. And of course, the total is still the same, which is 3,285. And the total units is still the same, which is 9 units. Am I correct? They are supposed to have the same total. And you take 9 units and you divide by 3 because everybody has equal amounts of money. So Ravi has 3 units, Jim has 3 units, and Sean also has 3 units. So everybody has what? Everybody has equal amounts of money. Okay, let me just draw nicely. You can see that I'm using freehand. Alright, I'm not using any computer to work out or to draw the rectangles. So I'm using freehand, and that's what you'll be doing in the exams. So you'll be using your freehand or a ruler to draw. So everybody has 3 units. Okay, now so how much money must Sean give to both Ravi and Jim? Then you look at Sean. Right, look at Sean and look at his money before and after. So how much did Sean have at first? And how much did he have in the end? Right? So you compare. Right? So you can see that if 1 unit is $365, one unit is $365, Sean has 6 units at first. And now he has only 3 units left. So which means that he must have given away 3 units, right? 3 units to who? To Ravi and Jim. So 9 unit minus 6 unit. So Sean has given away 3 units. And the 3 units will be how much? So if one unit is $365, then you just multiply by 3. So 365 times 3, so Sean must have given $1,095 to both Ravi and Jim. And that's how you draw the model, which is like a before and after model. Alright, so we have come to the end of this model drawing lesson. As you can see, that model drawing is not very hard to learn. Alright, it's all about drawing out the sentences one by one. As long as you can understand the problem, you can understand the sentence, and then as you draw out the sentences, right, you should be able to work out some steps, right? And with the steps that you have written, then you get the answer. Otherwise, you will still get the meta marks in the exam. So I really encourage you, right? Those of you who are not good in your math, right? You must try to draw the model. Because your school teachers are drawing the model, so of course you are expected, right? I will expect you to also be able to draw the model since you are learning in school as well. So when you come for lessons, right, model drawing is very essential, right? Especially when you go to primary 5, primary 6. Without model drawing, right, it's going to be very tough to solve a difficult problem. Alright, okay, so we come to the end of this model drawing lesson. So stay tuned for the next lesson, and I will see you soon.